Alright, everyone. Lies of Locke Lamora I read this weekend. And surprisingly, very good. 5 stars. I actually read this version, mass market paperback. So you can tell from this cover, the setting is in a place kind of like Venice, Italy. It's a fantasy world. Also, when I do my reviews, I may say too much information. I don't know if you guys notice or anybody's even watching these, but I give a lot of the plot points and spoilers and stuff when I do my videos because I feel like all the other videos I've seen reviewing this, they didn't really tell what the story was about. I feel like I need to tell people like what the actual story is about. I mean, there's so much still you need to read it. Like even if you watch a movie of something, like if you watch like Harry Potter or Game of Thrones, you still need to go read the books because there's like so much more to it. But like this Italian setting, you can tell by this cover, there's like these big skyscraper type buildings that are made out of this glass called elder glass, which was like these mages made it a long time ago. They haven't really explained like all that yet, but there's like this one scene where we're talking about these 400, what they call bond magi. These like these mages. I don't know if they're the same ones that make the elder glass, but the mages that exist in the world now, there's not a lot of magic to it. There's just this one guy that's like a mage. And if you kill one of them, all of the other ones, all 400 of them will come for you. They'll kill you and everyone you know in your family, and they'll burn all your houses down and everything you own and just like destroy your whole lineage and everything. That's why you don't fuck with them. And they got these lines on their wrists that tell you how strong they are. And this one's got like 3 rings on it. So, yeah, it's crazy. So the glass. See, there's like stuff they explain, but they don't really. Yeah, there's 400 of these mages like set this whole big city on fire. It was so white hot you could see it like halfway across the world, pretty much. And it didn't destroy the elder glass. There's something about this elder glass that's so strong that even 400 mages couldn't destroy it. Anyway, it has nothing to do with the story. It's just kind of like interesting points that the story's about this guy named Locke Lamora. That's not his real name. He's like, he grew up as an orphan, and he was trained by this priest to be like a thief. And he's got this gang of other kids that grew up with him as thieves, like these 2 twins. This guy called Bug, and then his best friend, he didn't really like at first, named Gene Tannen. Now, Gene Tannen, he's one of the best characters. He's almost like as good as Locke Lamora. See, man, there's so much to say about this. A lot of people compare it to Name of the Wind, but it's not really similar stories at all. But the writing is kind of similar. I think I like Name of the Wind a little bit better because I like the setting just a little bit better. This was set in like a fantasy version of Italy or Venice, sort of, but not really. It's like it has all these little islands, and there's like, you know, what do you call it? Canals everywhere. And then there's the ocean, and it's full of like shark-infested waters and gators and shit. It's like super deadly water. And there's like names and stuff that's kind of based on Italian, and then there's like, the religion is kind of like similar to Catholicism. There's kind of like saints, but it's not really saints. So he's like living in this guy who's like one of the 13th. There's supposed to be like these 12 saints, but this is like the 13th one is for like thieves, and the nameless one or all this kind of stuff. It's really cool. So, like usually the protagonist, like in Name of the Wind, the protagonist is super smart. He's like almost like overpowered, and this kind of takes away from the believability of it. This Locke Lamora he's just really good at lying, but everything else he sucks at. He gets his ass kicked so much. he sucks at fighting, and that's why he has Gene Tannen, who's actually a good fighter, and he gets trained by this special ex-military guy. And it's just really dope because he kind of depends on his best friend. The other guys, they're really good too, but they're not going to be in the second book. I'm not going to say too much more about that, but man, there's like, usually when I read books like this, there's a lot of like aristocracy and nobility and that kind of stuff, like Mistborn. I could kind of relate this to the first Mistborn a little bit, because in Mistborn, the crew, it's kind of like, you know how in Mistborn it's kind of like a gang that are planning a heist. That's kind of like what this is. But in Mistborn, I didn't really get the characters because they were all pretty much like the same. They don't really like stand out, any of them. The characters in this are all really good and distinguished from each other. And even the nobility I didn't really mind. Like, some of the guys are really cool. Like, there's this guy, he's like the head of the secret police force. Kind of like works for the Spider. I forget, Midnighters is what they call him. And Locke Lamora has to take on this guy who's like got this big revenge from 22 years ago. And he's kind of like a terrorist. He's kind of like planted these bombs in the skyscrapers. And even though Locke Lamora, he's been robbing these nobility blind for like thousands and thousands of coins, he still wants to save their lives because they're going to kill everybody and like make the whole town, or not going to kill them, it's going to like make them stupid. There's this stuff that they give to cows, wraith chalk or something like that, wraith stone, and it like it would make everybody retarded, I guess. I don't even know. It's like basically he's stopping a terrorist plot, and they're pretty much like wanting to kill him. And he keeps telling lies to get out of all these tricks. Like, he'll tell a bunch of truth at the end, and he'll slip in that one lie. And it really fucks him over at the end. And it's so good. But the cop, he's like, I want to go kill this guy that's getting revenge on all you guys. I have a reason he killed all my... Well, I'm not going to say that. But then the cop's just like, here, take my sword, get it wet. I'm like, oh, damn. That's dope. So then, it's just really good characters. The setting is pretty good. It's not my favorite type of place, but it's good. It's interesting. I'm assuming the second book takes place on the ship because it's Red Season of Red Skies, and they're getting on the ship at the end. But then the way it goes back and forth between, like, one chapter will be in the present where Locke Lamora is doing all his shenanigans with the terrorist guy and dealing with this bond mage and trying to, like, cheat these nobilities out of, like, thousands of gold. And then it'll go back. Every other chapter is like a flashback to when he was a kid, showing like how he got trained, how he came up in this crew. And then it gets to one point where it kind of run out of backstory, and it's just like they'll explain, like I was talking about, how the Elder Glass place got burned down, and like how this one, the banker guy got all his money, and like how all that came to pass. And it's like really cool, like world building in between chapters. It's like interludes. I don't know, I just feel like this would make a good anime or a game or something. I don't know how it would be a game. What was I thinking? There's something I was thinking like it. Oh, I'm also reading Cradle right now. Cradle would make a really good anime. Somebody should do that. But I really see what everybody was talking about with Lives of Locke Lamora. I really kind of want to read the next two now, but I also want to read Wise Man's Fear. And I also want to finish up The Expanse. I'm in the middle of like 3 different series right now, plus The Mistborn. But there's so many authors I want to get to that I've never read before too. So I kind of want to just keep reading new authors and seeing like who's good and who's bad. I want to read Jade Ward and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Don't know what I'm going to do next. Anyway, definitely read it. Give it a chance. I think everybody would like it. There are some really like cool parts to this too. I didn't even really tell you like the whole deal with like the shark fighters and like the big giant. It kind of reminds you of like One Piece. There's like a lot of piratey kind of stuff to this. The main pirate guy, he was like the Kappa. See, you wouldn't have words like Kappa and Dons. These are all like Italian words. It's weird. I feel like I'm leaving out a lot of stuff. I don't know. Just really good. It's really good.